Imagine having this killer app idea, but you can't write a single line of code. Well, that's the promise of this whole new wave of AI tools. Today, we're going to dive into one that's been getting all the hype, a platform called Base44. I mean, we've all been there, right? You've got this brilliant, maybe even million-dollar idea. And then, bam, the reality hits. You're not a developer. That huge gap between your great idea and the technical skill to actually build it, that's exactly the problem platforms like Base44 are designed to obliterate. And this is their promise, right there on their homepage. It's so bold. It's not about waiting. It's not about learning. It's about making something right now. And that pitch has pulled in hundreds of thousands of people. But the real question is, does this promise actually hold up when the rubber meets the road? Let's find out.
Okay, so first, let's just look at the numbers, because honestly, the speed of Base44's growth tells a pretty wild story all by itself.
Yeah. This is the number that just made everyone's jaw drop. After only 6 months, and get this, it was bootstrapped by a solo founder, Base44 got snatched up by the website giant Wix for over $80 million. That's not just a successful startup. That is a massive signal that the market is absolutely starving for this. And here's why a company like Wix was paying such close attention. This thing wasn't some little niche tool. No, it exploded. It attracted this huge base of founders, entrepreneurs, and creators. Basically, anyone who is desperate for a way to build things fast without those traditional, expensive barriers. So that kind of insane growth just begs the question, what is actually going on under the hood? How do you turn a simple sentence into a fully working application? Let's break down how it all works. The whole process is designed to be just incredibly simple. You start by just describing your idea, not in code, but in plain English, like you're talking to a person. Then you pick a visual style you like, maybe something bold, maybe something kind of glassy. The AI then just generates the entire app. I'm talking front end, back end, the whole shebang. From there, you just chat with the AI to make changes, and whenever you're ready, boom, one click and it's live on the web. This new way of doing things actually has a name. People are calling it vibe coding. And it really is a huge shift in thinking. You're moving away from the strict, rigid rules of code, and you're moving toward describing an intention, an aesthetic. You just tell the AI the vibe you're going for, and it figures out all the technical stuff for you.
Now, Base44 isn't alone in this space. Its main competitor is a tool called Lovable AI. And the key difference really boils down to this. Base44 is an all-in-one, a one-stop shop. It's got the database built in, which makes it perfect for total beginners. Lovable, on the other hand, often spits out a slightly better-looking app on the first try, but you gotta bring your own database. So it's geared towards someone with a little more technical know-how.
Okay, so we've seen the impressive marketing. We've seen the big numbers. But what happens when real, actual users get their hands on this thing and start building? Well, this is where the story gets a lot more complicated. For many, many users, the experience is exactly what was promised. It's just magical. This review from Product Hunt really captures that feeling of total awe, taking something that used to be a weeks-long nightmare and shrinking it down to just a few minutes. I mean, this is the dream of vibe coding made real. But then, you see the other side of the coin. This comment from a paying customer on Reddit, it just highlights the deep frustration when things go wrong. They hit a wall, the AI couldn't figure it out, and customer support was, well, nowhere to be found. It really shows the risk of relying on a new platform that's growing this fast. And this really brings us to the core divide among users. On the one hand, Base44 is absolutely fantastic for whipping up quick prototypes and simple internal tools. But on the other, you hear these consistent complaints about limited customization, designs that feel a little generic, and a support system that just can't always keep up with demand.
And beyond just how the app works, some users have started raising an even more serious concern. When an app is built for you in like 10 minutes, who's checking to make sure it's actually secure?
This quote from another Reddit user is so telling. They love using Base44 for that initial burst of speed, to get a prototype up, but their process doesn't stop there. They feel like they have to go back and manually check the code, file by file, using another AI to hunt for what they call so many security vulnerabilities.
And that just raises this huge question about trust and verification when it comes to AI-generated code.
Now, I have to be absolutely crystal clear here. This chart you're seeing, this is not a security scan of Base44 itself. It's from a general research paper about web security. But it's really helpful to understand the kinds of risks that users are worried about. These are super common issues that can pop up in any web application, whether it was coded by a human or by an AI.
So, the concerns often center on things like SQL injection. That's where a hacker could mess with your database. Or a bunch of these things called missing security headers. Think of those like leaving different digital doors and windows unlocked on your house. They protect you from attacks like clickjacking and make sure your data is sent safely. The point is, building an app isn't just about cool features, it's about building a fortress, and that's a complexity AI is definitely still learning.
Okay, so we've seen the incredible promise, and we've seen some of the serious pitfalls. This all leads us to the final, most important question. Who should actually be using a tool like Base44?
Base44 is an absolute rock star when it comes to speed and validation. The common theme here is anything that's a low-stakes creation. If you're a founder who just needs to test an idea fast, a product manager building a simple tool for your team, or an entrepreneur who needs a quick prototype for a pitch, it's an unbelievable asset.
But, and you knew this was coming, you should probably look somewhere else if you're trying to build the core of a serious, scalable business. If you need really deep customization or specific integrations with services like Stripe, or if you just want full control over your code and your security, you're probably going to find that Base44's magic runs out pretty quickly.
And really, that brings us to the final thought here. Tools like Base44 they're undeniably a revolution. They can take an idea from your head and make it a real, tangible thing in the time it takes to go grab lunch. But the question you have to ask yourself is this. Is a tool that's designed for a sprint also the right one to run a marathon? That is the crucial thing to consider as AI keeps changing how we all create.